And she is a TEDx speak. Oh shit. That's why I'm not a TEDx speaker. Okay, one more time. Go.
From the top.
Welcome to the Elissa Goodman Show. And every week I have the honor of interviewing game changers in the wellness arena. Today I have Alexandra Catalano. She has a website called Eat Cute. She wrote a book a few years ago called Beer Bongs to Broccoli, which I absolutely love. She's a TEDx talker. She's been on every news show, probably every magazine. She actually goes to colleges and talks to them, which I am massively fascinated with because I love the whole idea of colleges and students, you know, coming up the ranks and learning how to be healthy.
So do I, and that's kind of what started me doing what I do now. Is it all kind of stemmed from my experience in college. And
was that not a good experience, am I assuming?
Well, I was going to USC to be an opera singer, so I was studying. I know.
What?
Now I just essentially paid like $60,000.
Do you still sing opera in the shower?
Karaoke is like my time to shine.
Whoa, I would not want to do karaoke with you.
Oh no, no one likes opera singing and karaoke. It really ruins the mood. But yeah, I was going to school to be an opera singer, and when I was in college, it was my first time away from home, and
yeah.
I don't know about you, but when I was learning about health when I was younger, I really, I wanted to be skinny and fit and all those things.
Absolutely.
I listened to all the magazines, and I got really sick, and I wasn't feeling good. I didn't feel good in my body, and I ended up losing my voice and not knowing what I wanted to do with my life. And
because of the way you were treating yourself,
yeah,
and the way you were
drinking
eating.
water.
Yeah.
I was up all night. I was stressed. I was just not healthy, and drinking shakes and not eating food,
right.
and all the things. And yeah, I just started to figure out once I graduated from college, I didn't know what I was going to do because I just couldn't sing anymore. And it was like the one thing that I really identified with. It was like what I wanted to do. And then
that must have been hard.
It was awful. It was really sad. It was a sad time. But it was the thing that I started to figure out, I started reading all these books and starting to figure out how to heal my body. And I feel like this for you. You start feeling so good, you're like, I gotta tell other people.
Right.
And then I was
how
like,
to do this.
Is this a job? Because it wasn't meant to be a job. It
just fell into it.
I just loved it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a natural progression for you.
Yeah, it felt great.
Right. And it wasn't even that hard, was it, Alex? I mean, to get to the other side.
No.
Once you started learning.
Yeah, when I started learning, and I think, I'm sure you'll agree with me, but I think for me, what I love about what I do is I just teach people to really listen to their bodies and listen within, because there are so many different ways to heal yourself, and it can be a little overwhelming, especially now because health is so trendy, which is great, but there's a lot. And sometimes, I feel like, am I doing this because it actually makes me feel good, or am I doing it because, someone said to do it in, Vogue?
Right.
So
right.
it's just...
It's the latest, greatest thing. Like,
totally.
That is what's confusing people these days. Do you think the college-age kids, what's going on with them? Like, what do they want to know and learn?
Yeah, it's really cool because when I first started doing it, college was really important to me because I felt it's the first time you're away from home. It's the first time you're kind of coming into your own. There's a lot of people around you who are open to new ideas and new experiences.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, college kids don't care. And you know what? They do.
Whoa.
They do. Everyone listen, they do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we do kind of automatically think, okay, they're going to go to college, they're going to gain those 15 pounds, eat and drink, and then they'll come home and get their shit together.
Right, but I think a lot of times what I saw from people I went to school with is like you're alone for 4 years, you're living on your own, and then a lot of them go into 9-to-5 jobs. So now you have all these nice bad habits that have been in place for 4 years, and then you get a really, long job, and you don't have good habits in place.
Yeah.
And then people, I'm sure, later down the road in their 30s, 40s, they're like, oh my God, I'm sick, I got to take care of myself. And I'm like, let's teach them early.
Right.
So, and also if you think about it in college, we have to study and use our brains. What better way than to feed yourself with all these great foods? So I felt like my mind got so clear when I changed my diet.
Right. So when did you change your diet? In college? Was it?
No,
not
until after.
Okay.
In my early 20s, I tried, I don't know about you, when you start getting into health, you want to try it all. I was vegan, vegetarian, raw food. I remember my parents, this is unusual. We went to vacation, they took me to Paris in the winter, and I was like eating coconuts, and I was freezing to death.
Oh my God, you were in the raw craze,
I was freezing, which,
vegan
what?
raw.
Totally, and for some people, it works great, and it feels great in their body. I was freezing.
Yeah.
So I tried all the different diets, which was awesome because it really kind of taught me what each one kind of feels like, and all the different
what works and what
philosophies.
doesn't work from each of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You do like a cleanse program? Do you help people through that's pretty cool. What is that?
It's neat. So I kind of like help people, you know, we set like a goal, and essentially it's like whatever their goal is for those 3 weeks, I kind of help take a look at like what their habits are, and then we see how can we enhance those habits and make them work for them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then you just guide them along through the whole
Yeah,
week?
and a lot of it is like it's a 3-week program. A lot of them, like for me, I don't feel like there's one diet that works for everybody, but
Yeah.
one thing I really believe in my whole heart is like sugar is awful.
I think most of us do.
Yeah,
right?
I do. And I get so, I don't know if you feel this way. I go to all these health conferences
Yeah.
and things like that, and a lot of stuff they're passing out, I'm like, guys, like, and people go because they want to feel better and they want to be healthy, and I'm like, I don't love
know.
that there's sugar and all this stuff. So for me,
Even the healthy stuff.
even
Even the superfood healthy stuff has all the sugar.
I was
so.
really bummed. I went to the Metabolic Health Summit, which is supposed to be the keto one, which
Yeah.
you know the keto people are not. I call them keto people.
What do you think of keto?
I think there's great properties to it. I love vegetables, so for me,
Mm-hmm.
when people are scared of eating vegetables because of the carb content, I'm like, ooh.
I know.
Because I think, you know, for me, I'm not vegetarian, but most of what I eat, the bulk of what I eat, is just fresh local fruits and vegetables, and then here and there small amounts of protein.
Do you eat animal protein?
I do.
So how often do you eat that?
Not that much, like really small amounts, and I really
Uh-huh.
kind of listen. Like in the summertime, all I want are like crunchy salads. I know that's such a crazy thing.
But you're touching on something that's kind of brilliant, because when I helped the Cafe Gratitude cleanse for
No,
years.
That's why I'm so excited to be
I mean,
here. Yeah.
I actually handheld those cleansers, and it's raw vegan mostly.
Yeah.
Maybe they had like a cooked soup if we were lucky, and they didn't do so well. You're right. I mean, it was like in the winter. So you're right. In the summer, they did so much better. The same people, winter to summer.
Totally. And it's interesting. You know, I feel like the foods that our bodies are always changing. So for me, I feel like the things that maybe worked for me in my 20s, now that I'm 33, you know,
You are?
I am. It's the height. I
Right.
throw everyone off. They're like this little girl with an older face.
Who's fierce
Yeah, right.
and determined.
Very intense little Italian person. But yeah, it's always changing, and there's always more information coming out, and I'm just always checking in with myself. I'm like, oh, how am I feeling when I have this food or this thing? Or
Right. And I assume you have your clients do the same.
Always.
They probably kind of like keep diaries or of
I
how they're.
encourage them, but
yeah,
people are very
don't do
stubborn. I'm like, do it, and they're like, ugh.
They don't do it for
don't
me
like write
either.
stuff down. They don't. I have to yell at them.
Right.
But
right.
I think.
And
it
do you yell
helps.
at them? Maybe I should start
In
doing
a
that.
passionate Italian,
know.
is, you know, Italian people.
You could get away with it.
I could. They're like, is she yelling or is she just talking loudly?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So do you help people all over the country? I'm sure probably even outside the country,
It's
right?
great. And what I do is I work virtually, so most of the time I can kind of work with people all over different time things, which can be confusing.
Yeah.
But it's cool too. Like and
Yeah.
sometimes I catch myself because I was coaching somebody in Puerto Rico, and I was like, oh, I see you're drinking out of a plastic Kirkland water bottle. It's like,
Right.
maybe you should switch to, you know, a Hydro Flask. And she's like, there's a hurricane going on and we don't have access to water. I was
God.
like, good
Yeah.
point.
Right.
Yes, you continue. Yeah.
Right.
But it's cool because you get to see what's available in other
Yeah.
countries, other places. I have clients in London. It's so cool.
I know, and there isn't as much available in those places as we do have
No.
here. So it's just, so like what are some of your tips, you know, just more for the younger generation, like college? I mean, I'm kind of fascinated.
Yeah.
Because my girls, one graduated, but one's still in college.
Oh,
and,
cool.
And
Okay.
it has been like interesting to watch her
It's
try to
tough.
eat healthy.
It's tough. So I always tell people, especially for college students, like one is water is huge because you will look into a lecture hall and you will see all the Starbucks cups, but you will not
So
see
true.
water.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of plastic water bottles,
Yeah.
which for me, I can always tell the difference. Like I know
I can
if you
too.
have access and you can get like a nice Hydro Flask or like a glass water bottle, or I've even drinking out of a mason jar. I'm not
Right.
particular.
Right,
But
same.
fresh water is huge. And I remember when I was in college, I rarely drank water.
So
I
you were
lived
dehydrated.
totally dehydrated. And to me, one of the first things I always work on with clients is like most people are super dehydrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am probably dehydrated.
What are your thoughts on Starbucks, speaking of that?
Ooh.
Okay, that's it.
I'm not
You
against
answered it.
Yeah, I love how you built this, and I listened to how he started it. I'm sure at one
Yes.
point it was like really cool,
And
awesome
yeah,
coffee. But
uh-huh.
yeah, I mean, look, it's not the end of the world. It's just what goes in it. Is it the sugar? Is it, you know,
Yeah.
is it a drink
Just-
with more sugar?
Or
than
is
milk?
syrup and all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So water is your one thing. What's your next?
When you're going into a cafeteria when you're a college student, I always tell people do not get a tray because the tray is where we get into trouble.
Okay.
Because we go, look, I can fill this whole tray of all this stuff.
Okay,
As
so-
opposed to just get a plate and have your
Yeah.
plate and check in. Because sometimes, you know, you like, especially when I was at college, I was like, there's an ice cream machine here and there's muffins here and all this stuff. And I wasn't paying attention. I'm like, am I full?
Yeah, that's brilliant too.
Yeah.
I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's not a lot of healthy food at colleges. So, I mean, you don't get the veggies.
No.
That you really, even, you get some fruit, but the veggies seem to be few and far between.
Yeah, and
So how do you do that?
Yes, I love this. So a lot of students, at least I did, and when I go to most colleges, I hear that they have like little mini fridges.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I always tell them, like, if you can, you know, see what's local, like if you can go to a farmer's market, or if like Imperfect Produce like can deliver stuff to your door. Like nowadays we have stuff that we can have delivered.
Right.
And they're not too expensive. Like I've spent like $10 at Imperfect Produce and it comes right to my door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you into, because I'm like a big fan of, I am a juicer. And I also love greens powders and smoothies and all that stuff. Do you, I mean, do you do that with the students? Do you try to get students to juice or do smoothies or?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like if they can, if they're.
Absolutely. I think a smoothie is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of those, juicing is sometimes a lot for a student, but even if you had to, you can make, you know, I make celery juice with a blender and I use a nut milk bag and I
You do that whole thing?
I love it.
And what do you think of the celery juice craze?
I love it. You definitely are a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of it. I think it's great.
I mean, it's pretty cool that it's gotten out there and it has really elevated the juicing world.
Absolutely.
In a lot of ways, and talk about hydration, right?
I feel so good after I have like a celery celery juice in the morning on an empty stomach. I feel great.
Did you ever go through any health issues yourself, other than the weight and mental fog and? Mostly
that, because I did not know that you could feel good. Like I was just like, you get used to feeling kind of crummy. So I remember just being like, oh, you're supposed to wake up and like want to go right back to bed or have headaches or feel heavy all the time. And then when I felt good, I was like, oh, you feel good? Who knew?
Yeah, who knew that you could have like a whole different vibe with your life?
Yeah.
So what are things that you do for yourself that really elevate your health?
Yes. Okay. I love this question. I love fruits and vegetables so much, and for me, cooking has been huge. And when I was in college, I unfortunately had an eating disorder, like many young women.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was afraid of food. Like I was afraid to cook. I was like, this is this thing that, you know, makes me fat and, you know, I can't control how much I eat. And I just had a bad relationship with it. So when I started to fall in love with cooking and saw how like therapeutic it was, it changed my life. So now when I cook, I love going to make friends with the produce people at the supermarket or the farmers at the farmer's market.
True.
Because I have a guy. I go see him all the time at Whole Foods.
Which one? Oh, Whole Foods.
Yes.
Which one? In the Valley?
Yeah, I go to the one on Olive in, yes.
Okay.
Yes, in Toluca Lake. And he's my dude. And he always, we have this thing where I know. And every time I go, I'm like, give me something new. What should I cook this week? And he'll give me one new fruit or vegetable. Yeah. And it's a challenge because then I'm like, oh, because, you know, we go to the store a lot, and I think what we do is we go with a list and we're like, that's what I'm getting, and we eat the same stuff all the time.
We do, right? We don't mix it up.
And I think what deters people from eating healthy is like, oh, it's boring. I'm like, no, try
too much broccoli,
spices. You know, fennel. I recently had a new discovery of fennel.
Yeah.
Raw fennel salad? How did I live without it?
I know. I agree with you. I'm just like obsessed, and I juice fennel also. It's so good.
I haven't done that. That's a hot tip. All right.
It is. It's really, really yummy.
That's
dandelion greens. I'm a massive fanatic.
I know you are. You have your
yeah, the juice at Air One, and then I have a salad at Gratitude with the dandelion greens. Yeah, it's a little bitter. Some people are just
because we're not used to it in our diet.
Yeah.
But I want to learn how to cook with do you cook with the greens?
I do.
Is there a way to make it taste?
It's just, you know, you need the spices. You need the, you know, and you also need to counter it with things that aren't as bitter, of course.
Right.
So, yeah, there definitely are ways to cook with it. And I mean, even sauteing with olive oil. And, you know, yeah, it does. It mellows it out a bit.
I need to try that again, because that's one of those ones I'm like, I'll be back for you. I keep finding other vegetables that I'm like, oh, I'll come back to the dandelion greens. But I think that's really fun. And also, like, for me, I think sometimes, again, we go in with a list, and instead, I think a lot of times what I cook, I get inspired by what's in season. So like the other day I was walking by these strawberries and I'm like, oh, it's like they smell so good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what can I make with these strawberries? And I was like, I'll make a dressing out of them. I'll mix them with coconut milk and make popsicles out of them. But I wouldn't have thought that if I came in with a list. I was like inspired by what was in season, what was local, what smelled amazing.
That made you feel creative.
Absolutely.
So what's on the agenda for you now?
Yeah, okay.
Because
so,
there's no stopping you.
well, thank you for saying that.
You are on a mission.
Aggressive.
Right.
I definitely want to work on making health more affordable for people and getting it out. Because again, I deal with a lot of college students where, you know, things feel a little bit like, oh, that's, you know, I'm in LA. We're both, I grew up here.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times it feels like a little bit like kind of fancy, and I want to make it feel expensive. And I don't want people to feel like they can't be healthy if they can't afford those things.
Yeah.
You know, so I think creating either an option for that or really teaching people like fruits and vegetables, you know, aren't crazy.
Yeah, they aren't expensive.
Aren't expensive, and you know how to get as much use out of a food item as you can. You know, maybe I use the strawberries in a dressing, but then I make a dessert out of it. You know, like try to get as much out of it.
You don't have any waste as much as you can.
And I'm glad you said that because that's my other goal. It's a big, massive thing, but it's like, how can I be more sustainable as well? Like in the kitchen, I'm thinking like, okay, like can I compost? Can I use mason jars to, you know, use for all my containers? How can I be more conscious that way as well?
That is so brilliant.
Yeah.
I am so glad I met you.
Oh, you
really?
have no idea. This is a big, I'm more excited than you. Yeah.
Now, I ask all my guests if they had to sum up their mission in one word.
Intuition.
Oh, I love that.
I just think, you know, look, I can tell you something's healthy all day, but if you're not feeling it, I think we have to learn to trust this. Because I remember just always looking outside myself for answers, and I knew what was making me feel bad, and I knew what made me feel good.
Right, I know, and more people really, I mean, it's so simple. You know, we come into the world with really strong intuition.
Yeah.
And then we just, as the years go on, we have all these outside influences telling us, no, you shouldn't feel that way, right? No, it's not that way, but you got to go back to your basics of you knowing what's right for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alex, thank you so much.
So excited to be here. Thank you.
Yes, it was fun. We'll have to do it again.
Absolutely.
Because it goes too fast.
Oh, don't I know.
Thank you.
Yay.
Woo! My phone was beeping.
Oh my,
that was not good to have that in my pocket.
I didn't hear it.
Ugh.
Thank you so
much.